Athena's army, which lives in the sanctuary, possesses armors with unique powers in its arsenal. And within the category of silver cloths, we find 7 armors that have unique powers or items built into them. These go beyond the defensive power of this intermediate rank, giving their users a clear advantage in battle. Hello, Knights of Amazon! Welcome to the Sempre Quis Saber channel. I'm Wes, and today I'm going to show you the 7 legendary silver armors which don't just depend on their user's cosmo, but also have weapons or unique abilities in the sacred armor itself. Are you curious? So go ahead and click subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and let's get into this awesome video. Number 1. The Perseus armor. This armor was at the center of one of the bloodiest and most unforgettable battles of the classic phase, Perseus's silver armor, worn by the relentless Algol. The constellation of Perseus carries the legend of the great Greek hero who decapitated the Gorgon Medusa, a monster whose gaze turned any living being into stone. And it's exactly this mythological tale that manifests as the great trump card of this armor. The Perseus armor features the fearsome Medusa shield, originally on its back but movable to the left arm. The shield displays a sculpted Medusa face. When Medusa's eyes open on the shield, they emit a cursed light. Anyone who looks at this light, even if it's just through a reflection or the armor, will be affected by the cursed light. Anyone who looks at this light, even if it's just through a reflection or with their eyes closed, has their body instantly petrified. The petrification alters the victim's cellular structure, turning flesh and bones into stone, causing the person to become like Medusa herself. In the classic story, Perseus's Algol was an absolute nightmare. During the battle in the mountains, he managed to turn Shun of Andromeda and Seiya of Pegasus into stone statues with frightening ease. The light from the shield nullifies any frontal attack, which forced Dragon Shiryu to make one of the most brutal decisions in anime history. In order not to fall victim to the petrifying gaze and to destroy the shield to save his friends, Shiryu had to pierce his own eyes with his fingers, sacrificing his vision in exchange for a chance at life. In the end, Shiryu managed to shatter the silver shield and defeat Algol, using the dragon's fury. Number 2. Cup armor. Also known by its Latin name, Crauteris, this armor is the greatest support and healing artifact the sanctuary has ever seen, and is considered an extremely valuable relic. Legend tells us that the cup armor was used in mythological times by the goddess Athena herself. The goddess used the cup to give her wounded knights something to drink. This divine blessing became embedded in the armor. When the cup armor is assembled in its object form, it takes the shape of a holy chalice. If you fill this chalice with water, that water turns into healing nectar. Its other ability lies in the reflection of the water inside the cup, which shows an image of the future to whoever is looking at it. In Next Dimension, Doku of Libra looks at the water and sees himself as the Old Master, while John of Aries sees his reflection wearing the imposing robes of the Grand Master of the Sanctuary. Tenma of Pegasus sees Seiya, who is his incarnation in the future, trapped in a wheelchair because of the curse of Hades' sword. The last known canonical user of this armor was Suikyo of Cup, Tenma's former master in Next Dimension. He bore the burden of being labeled a traitor, giving up his position as a silver saint to wear the Garuda surplice as one of the 3 judges of the underworld. All of this was to protect the sanctuary, carrying out a secret mission in the shadows. Number 3. Lyra cloth. Worn by the prodigy Orpheus of Lyra, this cloth carries the instrument played by the legendary Greek musician Orpheus, whose melodies were so perfect they could move even the gods of the underworld. The Lyra cloth is unique because its main weapon is not a chain or a shield, but rather a majestic silver lyre. Through the strings of this instrument, Orpheus channels his cosmo, creating attacks based on sound waves that completely ignore the target's physical resistance. Thus, the sound penetrates directly into the enemy's brain, and he can also control the strings to physically attack the enemy. It is said in Sanctuary that Orpheus possesses power that rivals that of many gold saints. He disappeared from the sanctuary long before the Battle of the 12 Houses. Driven by unconditional love, Orpheus descended alive into the world of the dead to beg Hades to restore the life of his beloved Eurydice. After being deceived by Sphinx Pharaoh and Pandora with a mirror that simulated sunlight, Eurydice was partially turned into stone, condemning Orpheus to remain in the second prison of the underworld, playing his lyre for her and for the Emperor of Darkness for all eternity. Number 4 for Cerberus armor. Worn by the ruthless Dante, we are introduced to the Cerberus armor. In Greek mythology, Cerberus is the gigantic three-headed dog that guards the gates of the underworld, making sure the dead don't leave and the living don't enter. To reflect the ferocity of this mythological monster, the Cerberus armor is equipped with chains attached to spiked spheres, with this weapon also being known as the Cerberus collar. Dante can launch these spiked spheres with his Cosmo, attacking at high speed to crush armor and bones with devastating impacts. However, these chains from the Cerberus armor do not have a life of their own, making them different from the chains of Andromeda. Number 5 Auriga armor. Capella is the silver saint who wears the Auriga armor, the charioteer. The constellation Auriga represents the driver of a chariot in mythology, usually associated with Erichthonius, the king of Athens. On the Auriga armor, the wheels of the chariot are represented by silver discs that attack like sharp boomerangs. The Auriga armor has 2 sharp discs attached to the sides of the knight's belt. When Capella throws them with his Cosmo, these discs travel at hypersonic speed to cut the target, later returning to the hands of the Auriga knight. But in his confrontation against Icky of Phoenix, Capella makes the fatal mistake of underestimating the Bronze Saint. And Icky strikes Capella with the feared Phoenix Phantom Fist, and under the effect of this nightmare illusion that destroys the mind, Capella has the terrifying hallucination that his own discs have cut off both of his hands. And the panic and psychological terror break the spirit of the Silver Knight. Number 6 Cepheus armor. Number 6. In the manga, Shun of Andromeda's master is Diderot of Cepheus, but in the anime adaptation, he was replaced by Albion of Cepheus, gaining a completely different armor design and a much greater aura of power. The constellation represents Cepheus, the legendary king of Ethiopia and father of Princess Andromeda, perfectly justifying the fact that he is the master of Andromeda Island. What makes the Cepheus armor legendary in its anime version is the fact that it also has cosmic chains on its arms. Although the Cepheus armor is almost like a silver version of the Andromeda armor in the anime, its chains do not have a life of their own, which is a big difference compared to Andromeda's chains. At the tip of its chains, there is a cross or a small silver spiked sphere. Meanwhile, the manga version of the Cepheus Knight is named Diderot of Cepheus. His armor does not have chains, and he is shown as a man of great physical strength. Number 7 Sagitta armor. This armor is responsible for starting the most acclaimed arc in all anime history, the Battle of the 12 Houses. We're talking about the silver armor of Sagitta, the arrow, worn by the obscure and lethal Trem of Sagitta. The constellation of Sagitta symbolizes the divine arrow shot by Hercules or Apollo in Greek myths. And as the myth suggests, the unique ability of this armor is the item called the Golden Arrow. The knight Trem uses his phantom arrow attack, which are mere illusions, to create a distraction and conceal the Golden Arrow, capable of wounding the goddess Athena in her human form. After hitting the target, the arrow slowly advances toward the victim's heart, resulting in 12 hours of agony, during which the opponent remains unconscious until their heart is pierced and they finally die. The only way to stop this arrow is to strike it with the light from Athena's shield, which is located at the top of the 12 houses of the Zodiac. So, my friends, which of these armors do you consider the most powerful among the silver armors? Let me know in the comments, and of course, thank you for watching until the end, and see you next time. May you burn your Cosmo to infinity.